The story begins in a huge arena in the middle of nowhere. The announcer announces about a fight. And it's not just a fight, but a very dangerous fight. A fight between a monster and a human. The monster is a strong-looking orc, who is double the size of the human he is fighting. He throws a powerful blow at that human. The human blocks his attack. However, the power of that strike is just too strong, makes him fall to his knee. Even his sword breaks into half. The orc then gets ready to give a finishing blow. The blow was so powerful that even the arena gets affected by his powerful attack. However, the human, he blocked that orc's attack once again. The human then gets ready to finish the fight. He punches that orc. The orc loses his balance. The human then grabs his broken sword and slashes that orc's head. The announcer announces the result of the fight. And people seems to be mad and sad to see the result of the fight. Audience shouts saying get out of their place. The announcer announces who is going to stop his rampage. He is the Heavenly Supreme Issue Maker, a former Lionwing Knight, the Scourge of the Greenfields, the adversary of the Abyss Legion. He is Damien Han, the MC of this manhwa. The announcer then announces an exciting news to everyone, that the organizers have decided to provide a special surprise event, and they can double, not just double but triple their money if they win this time. Because the next opponent of Damien is a beast at the top of the food chain on the land, and it's Imperator Samuro. Damien is mad because they didn't agree this, but he got no choice. He is already inside the ring. He gets ready to make it quick. They both charges toward their opponent, and we are told that this story is about one human, the story of a brave knight, in the midst of countless storms, in front of the countless crossroads of fate, forging one's own destiny with their own hands. This is the story of a man, the man who became the unexpectedly strong knight in the Elves arena. Next, in the forest, someone is shouting, "Aspen, run!" A knight and a lady is being chased by some orcs. And the knight is, we all know who he is, our MC, Damien. One orc is catching up to them. He swings his axe at them. The red-haired lady gets ready to block him. However, the orc's attack is little faster than she expected. But Damien stopped that attack and even break that orc with his one punch. They then runs from there to their hideout. That's little far away from there. But I think it's little late. The whole tribe of orcs have arrived there. However, they still doesn't have that strength to stop Damien. His one swing was enough to cut down a couple of them. Aspen calls him from behind, and she has opened the door of the hideout. Damien runs to the gate. Some orc are following him. One orc aims his spear at Damien, who is running, and his back is wide open. He throws his spear at Damien. It went straight at Damien. Aspen shouts, "It's dangerous." Damien looks behind. Blood splashes. Aspen got hit by that spear. The orc shouts in joy that they got one of them. Damien grabs her and dashes inside the gate. The orc's leader orders his men to finish them both. They charges toward the gate, and some people are watching all that by the help of some kind of device, and they look like elves. The boss behind them laughs, saying target locked. One orc enters the gate, but his head gets smashed by something. Someone comes outside from the gate while holding a log, and it's Damien, and he is holding a cannon. 3 orcs jumps at him. He throws the cannon at them with his full force, smashes them like potatoes. Everyone is shocked to see that. Damien then quickly closes the gate. Aspen asks him if he is going to throw another cannon barrel again. Damien tells her not to talk. It will make her wound worse. She then tells him that she got a good idea. She tells him to take the ones who can move and retreat first. But Damien doesn't want to leave her behind. She tells him that it's her order, and if he doesn't like it, then he shouldn't have joined her before. Then the wall gets breached. The orc's leader puts his face in that broken hole, saying, "Found you." Damien gets ready to break that head of his. Aspen then notices something. She looks above, saying, "What's that?" Damien turns his head back. There's a big spaceship in the sky. Orcs are also surprised to see that thing flying in the sky. The alien ship then starts to suck everything from the ground. Orcs are confused about what's going on there. Damien is managing to hold on with the help of his sword, and he is holding on to Aspen, who is about to be sucked by that light. However, his sword betrays him, and Damien and Aspen get separated. Along with everything, Aspen and Damien get sucked into that ship too. After that, the alien ship disappears from there. Next, Damien wakes up and finds himself in an unknown place, and there are 2 elves in front of him. However, Damien notices that these elves are different from the elf forest that he has heard of. Someone then puts something behind his head, and the other one brings a hot burning rod. They stabs the hot burning rod in his neck to mark him as a slave or something. I think. One thinks that they have catch some fresh fish this time. Other tells Damien to wake up quickly, or he won't be able to live for a day. The place Damien was lying, a circle forms around that place and he falls inside that circle. This makes him even more confused, thinking what's on earth is going on there. Next thing he finds out, he is on an arena ground, and someone is announcing something. And audiences there are all elves, which surprises Damien, because all he can see are pointy ears there. Not only he, but the orcs are also there, who are as confused as him. One orc shouts, "What's your motive?" Then they get surprised because they are speaking different language. but still they are understanding those elves, and it's because of the stigma on their necks. The announcer announces the rules and asks if everyone down there can understand him. He informs them that there are 100 people alive there in that arena right now, but the cutoff point is 3 people. The orcs comes to their leader asking what's going on there, and what should they do now. One guy is running away, shouting he doesn't want to do this anymore. Not only he, but there are more people of different races who doesn't want to play their game anymore. The elves told them that the last time was the last time, but now they are forcing them to fight again. One fat elf gets ready to punish them for trying to break the rules. He takes out his staff and releases some kind of green energy from it, which then burns them all. They vanishes from there, turns into ashes. The guy who was running to that group somehow managed to survive. The announcer announces that whoever doesn't have the will to fight, they will receive the heavenly punishment from the launcher that is on the standby. The guy comes to Damien and begs Damien to save him, but the guy gets hit by an axe thrown by the orc. The orc tells his men to listen up to him and do what they are good at doing, and that's killing other races. Now there are only 2 races in that arena, human and orcs. Damien and the orcs, 1 versus 1 tribe. Next, a woman screams, "Please save me." She gets her belly slashed by an orc. The orcs are killing everyone in that arena. The orcs then notices Damien. They notices that Damien is the same guy they chased along with the woman. They gets ready to finish him too. Damien also stands up saying that he is going to do the same thing like them, that he is good at killing monsters. 3 orc jumps at him. One of them swings his sword at Damien, which then cuts the shackle on his hand. Damien then takes a step back and puts all his strength in his one hand and gives a perfect uppercut right under the jaw of that orc, which sends the orc flying above like 50 or 60 meters from the ground. Damien then grabs the sword that was lying on the ground and charges toward the 2 orcs, stabs his sword on the neck of one orc. Just in a second, he finishes them. Another one comes from behind and grabs him by his head. The orc tries to smash Damien's head with its hand. However, Damien's hand's grip is way more stronger than that orc's 2-hand grip. Damien smashes that orc's hand with his grip, slams the orc on the ground and gives that orc a headbutt, which shatters the ground below. 2 more orcs charges toward Damien. Damien hits the ground. The axe which was lying on the ground comes up to his hand. He tackles one orc, and for the other one, everyone in the audience gets shocked to see the sight. Damien is smashing the head of the other orc with his bare hand and foot. He smashes the head of that orc so that even the orc's parents will not be able to recognize that orc, and pointing his middle finger at all of them, he tells them not to underestimate the Lion Wings Knight of the Human Union. Those actions and words of his seems to have charmed one elf, and others seems to be mad with his audacity. The commander of the orc asks his leader if he should also join the fight. The leader tells him to wait and see how long that human can fight. Damien is killing them with their own axe. He then grabs one of the swords that was lying around there and starts to swing his sword, which slashes couples of orcs with one swing. 2 orcs surrounds him from side to side. One orc attacks him with his spear. Damien dodges it with his sword. The spear slips and hits the other orc that was on the opposite side. Damien then swings his sword and chops off the head of that orc. The leader is shocked that Damien managed to kill so many warriors of his. Damien then comes to the leader, points his sword at the leader, and that face of that leader kinda looks familiar. And Damien haven't forgot that face because he was the one who threw that spear which killed Aspen and his team members. The orc leader is surprised that Damien killed so many of his warriors and is still standing. He acknowledged Damien as a skilled warrior. Damien puts his sword at that leader and asks him to come at him without wasting time, which surprises the leader. He then smiles, saying he was also hoping to fight him too. The commander charges toward Damien. Damien also charges toward him. However, Damien gets pushed back, which makes the audience's little mad, because he fought so well against a larger group earlier. But now he is being pushed back by a single guy. They gets ready to bet evenly, since it's closing soon. But the pink-haired elf seems to be excited. She gets ready to bet on Damien, even though he is losing right now. The orc commander gets ready to finish him off. Damien rolls to the right, while swinging his sword right at the neck of that commander. A blue-haired elf is laughing from above, saying the Sapiens always have the worst survival rate. She asks her little brother, who is sitting next to her, which one of those low-life will be their opponent later. Brother thinks they will all die. Next, Damien have finished the orc commander, even though the fight was a bit more challenging than earlier. He managed to defeat the orc commander. This shocked all the orcs who are in that arena. But for Damien, he thinks that the orc commander was only at the level of the Knock Guild. And what is this Knock Guild is? We don't know that yet. He comes to the orc leader, and the orc leader is now confirmed that Damien is extraordinary warrior, and thus he asks Damien to join hands with him. With Damien's strength, he is sure that they can get out of that place. He calls the elves uncivilized and barbaric, who are shouting stop chatting and fight head to head, and asks Damien to join hands with him and kill these uncivilized and barbaric people. With his leadership and Damien's strength, they can make these elves experience hell in their own land. However, Damien has no interest in his offer. He is only there looking for Aspen, and as soon as he finds her, he will leave from there. Since Damien doesn't want to join hands, the leader attacks him with his sword. Then something happens. The gate on the wall opens. The orcs get shocked to see the thing that is coming outside from that gate. The announcers announces that their arena's mascot, Yabuni, is finally here. Damien and the orc leader also get shocked to see the thing that just came out from that gate, which looks like crocodile and spider, and is now eating every orcs it can find there. Then it notices the two delicious meal in front of it. Damien was getting annoyed by only fighting with orcs. Now he is excited to fight with a new monster. Someone comes from behind and grabs him from behind. Seeing the chance, the leader stabs Damien with his sword, which even pierces the commander. The big monster gets ready to finish Damien and the orc commander, and seeing this chance, the orc leader gets ready to flee from there. Damien apologizes to Aspen for not being able to save her. Then a light sparkles, someone comes in front of him, and guess who? It's Aspen, and she looks healthy and fine. Elves are surprised to see one more sapiens there. Damien is surprised that she is still alive and fine. She tells him that he has worked really hard, and now that there are two wings knight, no one there can stop them. The monster charges toward her with its big mouth. Damien notices that Aspen is going to do something dangerous. She tells him that she doesn't know if this skill of hers will be able to save them both. But if he survives, she tells him to make sure to stay alive and remember her when he returns back. The monster gets ready to eat her. She charges in with her ultimate skill and strikes the monster's head, its body and tail. With her pierce style, full moon slash skill, elves are surprised to see that attack of hers. But Aspen notices that her attack didn't do any damage to that monster. It is still unharmed, and this is freaking her out. Damien also takes out the sword that was in his belly, and he doesn't want to see Aspen suffered again. This time he gets ready to save her. The monster is charging toward Aspen, and seeing that monster unharmed even after using her ultimate skill, Aspen seems to have gone numb. Damien from behind tells her to snap out of it and get off out of there quickly. And seeing Damien shouting like that gives her some strength. She charges forward because it's too late to dodge that attack. She uses all her power in that attack and slashes that monster. And this time, she seems to have caused some damage to that monster. The monster falls to the ground, and the wound she suffered last time seems to have opened again. Looking at Damien, she asks if she did a good job. While letting her guard down, the tail of that monster comes straight at her. Damien comes to her shouting, "Dodge!" But she gets hit by that big tail of that monster, which sent her flying and crushing to the other wall. And it looks like all the bones in her body have broken. People shouts, "Call the vet, their Yabuni is down." And this is the first time their Yabuni fall on the ground. They gets mad at that sapien, and this makes Damien super mad. Because of those guys, Aspen is dead now. And since he couldn't go up there to kill those elves, he vents his anger at the orcs who are there in that ground. He barehandedly kills all the orcs there, breaks them, skin them, even chop off the hand of the orc leader. The orc leader calls and begs someone to come and stop this human's rampage. Damien swings the staff that orc leader was holding and starts to smash the orc leader's head with it. This shocked everyone in the audience, but some are happy to see it because they made it big by betting on Damien, and some are excited to see such an amazing fight. The elves guard comes down to stop Damien, and Damien has finished with his orc leader and his staff. The guards apprehend him. Damien apologizes to Aspen again because he doesn't think that he can keep the promise to remember her if he survives. The guard then hits him with an electric device to knock him out. Next, a big fat elf is going somewhere. He comes to Damien, and for some reason he seems a little pissed off by Damien. The fat elf flashes a bucket of water on Damien. Damien thanks him for that because he was feeling thirsty. Fat elf throws the bucket at Damien, and he is super mad because of what Damien did in the arena. Fat elf grabs the electric stick from the guard and starts to give Damien some electric therapy. Fat elf tells him that the most happening entertainment there is blood spurting fight. Watching them fight and choosing the winner is the most thrilling entertainment. And this is their business. They called it arena. They kidnap the earthlings and bring them there, make them fight with other races and even among themselves. And seeing them fight like that brings the utmost joy to the elves there. And this time they bring the green orcs there to make them the star of the arena. The orcs are great warrior, and this would make them into a great fighter of that arena. The fat guy wanted to make money by using the orcs, and Damien jeopardized that, and he damaged the next box office hit of his. He completely annihilated the orcs, who were meant to be resold at a higher price. But Damien doesn't care about any of that. The loss is on them. They brought him there and make him fight with the orcs. The anger and bloodthirst from him makes the fat elf and the guards a little scared. Fat elf accepts his mistake for bringing him there, and now Damien is his possession. He gets ready to make Damien fight all sorts of battle until he repays the debt that he owes the fat elf. Damien gets mad at that fat elf for talking like that. He doesn't care whether they lost or gained. Fat Elf tells him that his lady friend has passed away. This shocked Damien, and this shock calms him down. Next, at night, he is blaming himself for the death of Aspen. Because of him Aspen died, that's what he thinks. And Elf comes there saying, "Did you see it with your own eyes?" She introduces herself as his supporter. Damien asks her if Aspen is really alive. The elf girl tells him that she is still alive and breathing. Damien asks her about Aspen's whereabouts, but elf girl thinks that's not important right now. This makes Damien mad and tells her to tell him Aspen's whereabouts. She tells him to worry about something else for now, because his next opponent is the hybrid that fought with Aspen, and Damien is looking forward to it because he also have some debts to pay with that monster. Elf girl is surprised that he is not scared of that monster. Damien asks for her intentions for helping him. She tells him that she only wished for his victory, but Damien doesn't think that there are free food in this world. She then makes herself clear that she is his supporter, and all she wishes is his victory. She wants him to bring her victory without saying a word, and if he loses his precious Aspen, she will destroy her. She then leaves from there saying that both him and Aspen are in her hands, and if he doesn't win, he will lose everything. She then vanishes in the thin air, and now that she has left, Damien curses her. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, then please do 1K likes for next part and stay tuned because next is going to be a big kaboom.